So yeah, thank you very much for all coming along today, just for our short 20-minute presentation. So we're just going to be talking about some of the issues that stop our hens from laying. A lot of them you may already know, of course, but we'll just go and have a bit of a refresh and look at some of those areas. So the number one is your breed, and I think you all have the Highline Browns or no? What hens do you have?
I've got Isa Brown,
Oh,
I've
yeah?
got a Leghorn, I've got another
right.
Asian, a black one.
Okay, so Australorp, yeah, so you've got a range of different breeds.
So I've got six.
Yeah, a range of
grades.
Yeah, great. I mean, you get a bit of variety, a bit of colour in your flock, which is always good
Yeah.
too. So, luckily with the breed, when they stop laying, it's quite normal for a breed to stop laying in the winter. When it starts to get a bit colder, then they will tend to just switch off and they'll stop laying their eggs. Very normal for a chicken to do that. It's abnormal for the hybrid chickens, like the Isa Brown and certainly the Highline and the Lohmann Brown, which is a German breed. They all just keep on going all through the winter time without having to slow down or stop. Some breeds have a tendency to go broody as well, so quite apart from just stopping egg laying because of the breed, they'll have a tendency to go broody. Broodiness, of course, is just when they just want to sit on eggs and bark and growl at you, don't they? Like you would know that.
I've
know
had
that from your
with my black one.
Absolutely. The Australorps are they can go broody quite quickly.
Yeah.
I have had a customer who's had a dozen Australorps all laying beautifully, and then one went broody, and for some reason knocked them all off the perch, and they all went broody, and there were no eggs there from then on for the next few months. So can go broodiness is certainly a negative trait for egg laying, and again one of those things that is bred out of the Isas and the Highline Browns and those commercial layers, because no eggs, not good for business. Seasonal influences they do still affect the good egg layers. All right, so you still get that even with the Highline, your Isa Browns. You know, when it does get colder and the days get shorter, you know, that they do find struggle a bit more to get the nutrition that they need to lay the egg. So that is one factor with even the good layers. The winter time can slow things down a little bit, so you can expect that in the winter time. You may have already experienced that already.
So should you feed them more in winter?
You need to just really focus on and I'll talk about that as a good quality feed. Most of you are probably using our feed. You keep them on a good quality feed, and I mentioned some of the issues with scraps, and that will just keep them laying as best possible in the shortest winter day. Yeah, absolutely. Try and reduce the scraps to minimise those. Remedies is choose. If you want eggs, you want consistent egg production, well, you need to choose a hybrid hen, the good egg layers. Simple as that, really. If you want your eggs, that fixes that problem pretty much. Insulate your coop. Getting a bit of insulation into your coop can also help. So just removing any drafts, any sort of large or open areas in your coop too can can certainly help too. Just to in your controlled, like your cage and your barn laid farms, they actually have they try and maintain around 21 degree temperature, controlled climate, and that keeps the birds laying more consistently all through the colder and the hotter months as well. So temperature is a really important thing too, so if you can just reduce your any drafts and things like that, will certainly help with the eggs as well. Would it help? Age, of course, we all know about age. We all slow down a little bit as we get old. I know, I certainly do. As they get older, beyond 18 months of age, a lot of the birds, and even the really good commercial layers, the hybrids, the Isas, they will tend to just slow down and stop. Like the current breed, they're the latest generation to come out of the States, and they are meant to, in theory, lay beyond 100 weeks, which is 2 years of good commercial grade eggs. So that's a little bit different than just, they'll continue to lay eggs, but of course when you have that thin shell and a poor quality egg white, you can't sell those eggs. So currently 100 weeks is 5 months better than the previous best layer. So they do very well. In theory, they're meant to be laying, for 2 years, great quality eggs, which is a real step up, definitely. Remember, you really need to add new hens in your flock. So they start to slow down, they start to stop. And then Kookaburra, I think he's laughing at me. But you need to just replace, you need to integrate some new birds. And a lot of our customers probably have done that before, integrated. Sometimes you can have a few problems with that. And there's ways of managing that a little bit better. The young ones do tend to get beaten up a little bit by the older birds. Always have that pecking order. You always got to establish the hierarchy. Quite normal. It's sometimes a good idea to bring in a larger number of birds than what you currently have in an older flock. They just have to spread the pain amongst or chase, 5 birds as opposed to 3 birds all beating up on one. So it's sometimes a good idea just to spread that to buy more in.
And when I introduce new birds,
Yes.
it stops the older ones from laying for a while.
Yeah, true. They can get quite put out, some of the older birds, definitely, because they've had their setup, they've had their domain there, and they've had their pecking order, and then next thing they bring in the newcomers, and upsets the apple cart a little bit for a while. So they can stop and slow with their laying because of that, for that reason too. Yeah, good point. Very good point. Also, as they get older, it's a good idea to get some alternative ways of getting more calcium into the bird. It can be really important too. So I always recommend a bowl, a free choice bowl of coarse shell grit, and it can be quite coarse, surprisingly large. The shells that can go into that grit, and they can still get it down. It's amazing. And that's another way of just getting calcium into the bird and getting a harder, a firmer eggshell on there. You're still going to get sort of a bit of a poor quality when it comes to the egg white. But as they age, they lay a larger and larger egg, as you probably know, and their calcium production does not keep up with the increase in egg size. So you've got to try and find other ways of getting more calcium into them, and that can certainly help. Vitamin D also can be another way. Sometimes we add that to the water, and that also helps with the absorption of calcium as well. So that can be another way of doing it. The vitamin D, another way of getting vitamin D into them is something like a pick block. We've got it called Harden Up, which is another way of getting more vitamin D into the bird, into the older birds, and getting that eggshell a bit tougher as well. The feed, of course, classic, just a poor quality feed. It's never going to help with your, it's going to stop a bird from laying that much sooner, and also it's going to delay the onset of lay as well, if you have a poor grade feed. Just something more like a golden yolk, a low protein feed, not really designed for the high producing birds. Yeah, so very good for the purebreds though, or any bird that's stopped laying for the winter. Having a lower quality feed, certainly can save you some money, and if they're not laying eggs anyway, that's okay. So good high grade feed really helps a lot for the nutrition. Scraps, feeding too many low quality scraps. If they're eating too much like bread, for example, or rice, that can put them off eating what they need to out of their good quality feed. So they can fill up on that sort of stuff. I hear a lot of customers will say, oh yeah, but they love sunflower seeds, for example, or they love to fill up on fruit, type of fruit they give to them or not. And that's great, and they will love that. But I always say I love hamburgers. I love hamburgers. I could even have them for breakfast, lunch and tea, morning and afternoon tea, and probably supper. But it wouldn't be that good for me over time. I'd be, quite large, no doubt. So same with the chickens. I'll eat a variety of things, but not all of those things are that good for them. And it will tend to limit their desire to eat from the good stuff that they actually need. So really important.
What about wheat and grain?
Yeah, again, it's all in a good balanced layer diet. So the extra stuff it's almost watering down their diet. So little treats, I normally say once a week is okay. And green scraps are fine for birds, for your chooks. But just know that, like our feed, everything's in there for a perfect balanced diet. Formulated for them. So, but it's nice to give a few treats now and again. It's good fun too, So,
One way getting them back in their pen.
yeah, well, true. But a bit of training like that, you can get them back, and then you're dead right. Mealworms can be good, not too many of them, just 1 or 2 at a time. They've got too many mealworms can really bind the bird up a little bit. But high protein, and they seem to gobble them down like there's no tomorrow, so they love that sort of stuff. So, good high grade treats can certainly help. Highest grade feed, remove or reduce any of those low grade scraps, particularly in winter time, because with a short day again, they really struggle to, especially if they don't have a high grade feed, they're struggling to be able to find the nutrition that they need from their environment. Even if they're free ranging, they're going to struggle to find the nutrition that they need to be able to make that egg, make a good quality egg each day. It's quite a job. Illness, of course. Illness, bugs, things like that, they can really knock a bird down and stop them from laying while they're battling an illness. Parasites are the most common. Normally your worms, your parasitic worm, roundworm is the most common worm. You do get threadworm, tapeworm, they're far less common. Roundworms are most common, I think, in all animals, but that will be taking a lot of the nutrition that should be going through to making a good quality egg. So you normally see it straight away in your eggshells. You'll see, let's say, white patches, soft patches on the eggshell, misformed, misshapen eggs, very runny egg whites as well, and small white segments in their droppings, and that's diarrhea, that sort of thing. It's all signs that they have worms, and it's just time to give them a good deworming and get them back to a good base level there to work from. So worms can often be a bit of an issue. Fighting an illness, directs the energy that the bird has towards fighting that illness, and one of the remedies, really, one of the ways to sort of improve that is really to fix, to support them in that time. So that's when you really need something like, we've got a vitality booster, any sort of a probiotic, something that really helps the bird overcome and regain the energy, can really be of benefit when they are sick. And oftentimes they will stop laying when they do, they're particularly ill, or they're fighting a bad infestation, whether it's an external parasite like lice or mites, or the internal roundworm. So if it becomes a burden, it can really slow things down. So you need to provide a bit of support for the bird while they're battling any illness or overcoming an illness as well. Finally, the environment. The environment is obviously very important. I had a lot of customers actually, but they let the birds out early in the morning, around 7 in the morning. Sometimes the bird decides to find a new laying spot, whether it's a pile of wood or maybe some long grass somewhere. They're very keen on creating a nest somewhere that that you don't know until you discover it. You find 30 eggs in a little nest under the house somewhere. So he's had that experience. Yeah, that's common, isn't it? And what I normally recommend, just when you discover that, just test all your eggs before you eat them, of course. Put them in a glass of water or something, and if they float, maybe give them to the kids or something. I don't know. But, I wouldn't recommend eating them. But certainly, it's a good idea to, if you find that sort of thing, let them out a little bit later in the day. I sort of, rather than let them out at 7, I let them out at 11 o'clock. I say most egg laying is done between 7 o'clock, I guess, and about 9 o'clock in the morning. So just let them out a little bit later, and let them, so that they're forced into staying in the coop and laying, and then just start working backwards. And then again, when they're settled in, and as they age too, as the bird gets a bit older, they start to settle into a bit of a rhythm, bit of a routine, and they normally stick with that. But when they're a bit young, they have a tendency to just experiment a little bit and lay in different areas, which can be, and I've often had the telephone call from customers saying that, look, your birds aren't laying, what's going on? And then they discover that there are 30 eggs underneath the house. So that's one good reason why birds don't lay. Loud noises, lightning, things like that. Building, using chainsaws, things like that. Your brush cutters and whippersnippers around the house too. Get a bit closer to the cage, your coop. That's going to put them off. They'll normally stop for about 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and they'll normally all stop together, which is a bit of a sign that it's been something sudden, and they all just go off the lake. What's going on here? With a sickness, it tends to be one that picks it up and gives it to the other, and one slows down or stops, and it's not all sort of uniform. But with a fright, with lightning, or something like that, it'll all just stop at the same time. So just be aware of that when you're going to be making a bit of noise. Dogs, of course, any dog attacks, just dogs fighting in the yard. Foxes coming around at night time, scratching, that'll scare the chooks, and they can all just go off the lay, and you have a look around, you'll find out there's a bit of evidence of digging around the coop, and that's a classic way that all the birds just stop laying due to, the predators trying to get into the coop. And finally, the pecking order and bullying. So that's a classic way, and I've had a lot of customers that have, again with the integration often, if they've had some older birds, they bring in the young ones get bullied, and they're bullied and kept away from the food. The hens just seem to love to protect their resources, and they love to protect their food, mostly the food, rather than the water, and they'll go and peck the other birds, stop them coming near the feed. And of course the bird can't eat the feed, well, they won't be laying their eggs too, or they'll quickly be slowing down with the egg production. So just be mindful of that. And so there's a number of ways just to reduce the chances of bullying, but you will get 3 or 4 days of that anyway, integrating new birds. So it's really just checking your coop, making sure your coop is as safe and secure as possible and predator proof, which we all try and do, I know. But digging for foxes is a classic, and certainly getting over fences, so you can easily allow foxes in. Be aware of any noises and loud bangs and whatnot. Know that there's lightning, thunderclap at night, and your birds stop laying for the next few days. It's probably just due to the lightning. But be aware of when tradesmen come around your home and the noise they make. That just maybe you put your chooks in a different area. And extra for bullied hens, it's a good idea just to have an extra source of food and water for the birds, just while they're integrating. So sometimes you can do that and just put the birds in at night time, but just keep them separate during the day, just so the bullying doesn't stop those new hens from getting access to the food and what they need to be able to get up, get a good body weight, and start to lay their eggs. Yeah, which is very, very, very important. So that's the 5 key areas that can affect egg laying with our chooks. Did we have any questions at all before we sort of wrap it up? Oh, yes, sir.
Sorry, we purchased some chicken, how many days long now?
Month and a half,
about
okay,
6 weeks ago.
Yep.
Three chickens,
Yes.
one that was laying eggs,
Yep.
and 2 that were pullets, and she said they would lay within 2 to 3 months.
Yep.
3 different breeds. Since
Okay.
we've had them, we've not had one egg.
Okay. The comb. So you've 3 pullets. You've bought 3.
No, one was laying, one's about 2.
Okay,
That was
one's
laying,
2.
that's a golden lace.
One diet. Yeah.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely.
And then the other one, and then the 2 that were pullets, one is the white Alston shop.
Australorp.
Australorp.
Oh, white Australorp.
No,
Okay.
a bantam, that's the bantam. I've got a bantam Australorp that's black.
Oh wow. All
And
right.
then a big white chook.
Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe a
they're all-
Sussex or something like that, maybe. Or
But
yeah.
they
So they're
haven't
not.
laid a single egg since.
Oh well. So they're not great laying breeds, which is the start. And if you said you've got one that's 2 years old, which is not great laying breed. That one sounds a bit old. It may have finished with its laying. Also, cold is winter time. They're going to be naturally. This is not the time for the purebreds to be laying eggs. They might shut down. They might start again in springtime. So you might have to wait till spring before they kick back into gear again. Yep, that's the only thing with those. It's the only thing with the purebreds here. They do tend to slow down, stop in the winter,
Yeah.
and with starting lay can be sometimes 6, 7 months before they lay their first egg. The other option is the food and what feed you're giving them. So if you're giving them a high grade feed, but that's giving them the best possible chance of laying.
Yeah, they've got 2 lots of feed. They've got the one which is all mixed grain,
Okay.
including corn and all sorts of things in it.
Yep.
And then they've got the other one, the pellets, the
Okay.
Barra stuff.
Yeah, the golden yolk. So that's a
so-
classic. That's a low grader, but because the protein's very low in that. And you mix, if you've got a mixed sort of grains, unless it's specifically for a laying hen, it may not be enough to provide what they need for laying either. Yeah, the nutrition is vitally important. But as I say, the pure breeds, they just might not be laying because it's winter. So, but a high grade feed, very, very important. Very, very important for them. So,
And if you were to introduce a 4th chicken,
Yep.
like one of these ones that lay,
yep.
it doesn't matter on the different ages of the different chooks as you
Yeah, with
introduce.
the older ones will pick on them, definitely, and you'll get 3 against 1, sort of thing for a while there. After a week or so, they'll normally work it out. And if you're able to separate the birds, that's great. And if you're able to provide separate sort of feed, like say a high grade feed like ours, if you gave that feed to the new bird, that would be really good. And then just over time integrate them. Yeah. Yep. But you can sort of get separate during the day, at night time put them together, and after a few days I'll work it out normally. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Any other questions at all? It's all freezing now. Freezing, yeah, I know. Oh well, thank you very much for coming along. I think I'm sure I kept it within my time frames, and really appreciate you coming down here for a chat. Any other questions? Yeah, certainly let me know anyway. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yes. Yeah, 4 months. 4 months. Yeah.
Stocking up and that.
We can ship it Australian Post.
Yeah, I got last time I got like that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
kg. So as soon as we get up there, it's a whole nother shipment. And it's ship it to 21 kg. Ship it, add an extra because of the boxes and bag it on half a kg.
Yeah, no.
And that's something strange.
Well, that's still added, obviously. But the goodness of it's
Yeah, just slowly
doesn't.
degrades.
think it degrades.
All feed, yeah.
More
You have things in it.
things around it,
I mean,
not, you know.
it's an airtight container.
Yeah.
Keep
I'm
it
looking in
dry.
future, I might look at vacuum packing because you can vacuum pack all the oxygen.
That's right.
Apparently, it really keeps it going.
Keeps it going.
Fresh that much longer.
Wondering if
They've got
we
a
should
probably
pour
top and half.
this internal,
At least one box.
you know, it's sloppier,
I do mix mine with the
what you put feed in the
pellets.
water.
Just mix it all up.
It's trying to get rid of your pellet beach. If you can save money, don't buy your pellets. I guess it just extends it. It's just like reducing those. You just
One stage because I'd run out of the good food, and I went to the pellets and that, and we did see the quality of the eggs went right down, like the yolks went basically nearly white. And the wife's going, "What's wrong with that? It's the food." She goes, "It's rubbish." So I actually got some posted in and that, and within 2-3 weeks,
back in,
beautiful colours again and that. So
yeah, it does make a big difference.
it does make a very big difference.
The parasites, do you put in something in their water?
No, not at the moment. No, we've got a powder that goes on the parasites for the lime.
Yeah, well, I've got that.
Yeah,
The inside.
the inside, we've got a feed. It goes into the feed.
Does it?
Yep.
Because I think we've got one chook that seems to have very, very runny.
Running for,
You get something on top of the tooth and it's a real messy.
rascal.
And one chook, and I just don't know which one it is,
Yep.
because they roost down low, like, you know, and we get an egg then every morning. So it's not a. The others lay up in there.
And the proper nest, they've got a
Yeah,
nest there.
yeah.
Well, normally
Two
they're
nests,
safe,
you know.
and the other one doesn't. She's only young. Did you get it from us the
Yeah,
last box?
We got them in here in
Little
February.
All right, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
We're getting 4 eggs nearly every day.
Every day. It's just that they, we're
Just
laying
an
them on
odd
the
day
spot.
we get 3, but mainly it's 4 a day.
So I try and just make that place where she's laying sort of uncomfortable spot. Make it really unpleasant. Make it really unpleasant. Even, just
Couldn't
whatever.
be more unpleasant because it's all underneath.
They're annoying, aren't they, when they do that at times? I tell you. Yeah, so make it as, put those metal spikes in there. Do something. Yeah, so you put a little bottom on there. Ooh, I won't lay there. So I don't know, there's got to be something you can do, yeah.
I reckon she sits on the perch and lays. Well, because the perch is only about that high off the ground. And I reckon
Maybe elevate the perch a bit more. Yeah. See that or
this stupid bloody one thing we bought, we should never bought.
Stevie, you're living in it.
Yeah, I know.
Try.
Yeah.
I walk across the try to get into the nest. Come up a rain, across the try, into the nest.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the ones really aren't.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, you might have to know.
Yeah, okay, alright, sounds good. Any problems, just let us know, give us an email.